The Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria has told the federal government that removing fuel subsidy will worsen the suffering of a majority of Nigerians who are already impoverished. The president of the P.F.N, Bishop Wale, urged the government to shelve the proposed policy in order not to worsen the hardship of the people and trigger crisis in the country. Well, joining us to discuss this is financial analyst Richard Inoyo and Chairman Christian Association of Nigeria, Kaduna State Chapter, Reverend Joseph Hayab. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
All right, I'm going to start with you, Richard, because you are into the numbers. It's interesting because every single day that goes by, Nigerians are forced to tighten their belts every day. The case doesn't seem to be easier, by the day. You hope that, as the days go by, the government would come up with policies that would, one way or the other, lighten the load of the average Nigerian. But that doesn't seem to be the case. But let's zero into this subsidy removal issue. This is one of the things that when our president was then a presidential candidate, he and many others who are now members of this APC political party walked through the streets of Nigeria, occupying Nigeria on this issue of subsidy removal. But here we are again with the same issue, but this time the government seems to be on that side. Richard, can you hear me?
Well, let me start by saying it's sad that we even have the president. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Now, it's sad that we even have a president contemplating to increase the price of oil in Nigeria. It's sad, to be honest with you. It's just so sad. Why I'm saying this is because if you look at the statistics from World Poverty Clock, it is said that over 105 million Nigerians are currently living below the poverty line. They're living in extreme poverty, not just poverty, but they're living in extreme poverty. And what that simply means in the real sense is that for every 2 Nigerians, 1 is technically poor. Okay? And that is why some of us in the financial markets, we're already thinking or coming to the conclusion that the president of Nigeria seems to have a national poverty expansionary plan. A national poverty expansionary plan aimed at dragging more Nigerians into the poverty nets, aimed at ensuring that every family at the end of the day produce people who can be classified as poor, people living below $1.9 a day.
Why would that be the plan of Mr. President when he promised us to give us a better economy, to fight corruption, and to, give us more employment? I'm trying to understand where you're coming from.
No, you see, a wise man once said that don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. Focus on the action. Okay, so if you're to focus on the action of the president, not the speeches, we have to focus on his action. Now, let me put it clear to you. This is a country where the cost of even doing business is already high. That's 1. 2, when you take that cost of doing business, okay, into the metrics of knowing that we don't have constant energy, what we call electricity in Nigeria, that simply means by increasing the cost of accessing the PMX, what you're trying to do technically is to increase energy costs for business operation. And do you want me to explain to you what that implies in terms of running business in Nigeria?
Please do.
Or what that would mean for manufacturers who have to choose between recruiting more stress, investing more, supply they need to be able to power their plants. So literally, we are going to be faced with not only just rising costs of production, we'll also be faced with rising cost of moving our products from one place to the other. So on the overall, this policy is in the real sense when it comes to removal of subsidy, which I don't even think the issue is about subsidy here. It's about an attempt by the presidency, because we have more of the presidency than the president. This is an attempt by the presidency and NNPC alongside the international collaborators to ensure that they cripple the Nigerian economy okay, with this policy. So first, you're going to have increase in the cost of doing business in terms of how you get your energy and what it costs to get energy. Also, the cost of moving your products from point A in Nigeria to point B in Nigeria. If you put these two costs together, transport costs and energy costs, I'm not even talking about the cost of raw material that will be impacted with the increase in the price of the PMX. I don't go into that. But if you take these two costs together, what you're going to have is what I call the equivalent of what's going on in Lebanon, where people have money, but yet they cannot use their money, okay, to buy tangible goods that they need. And I'm so afraid that where we're heading to is a place where not only that we're going to have more Nigerians dragged into the pit of poverty, we're going to have massive insecurity problem, because when people can't get jobs because companies are folding up, because companies can't stand the cost of energy and the cost of transportation, logistics, what that simply means is that they're going to fold up, people will lose jobs, insecurity will rise, and at the end of the day, we all will be sorry for it.
Okay, Reverend Hayab, I know that you have to stand on your pulpit every day and preach that message of hope to the people that are in your congregation, telling them to hold on, that God is going to, I really don't know, I'm just trying to presume what you would be saying to people, because people are in church looking for some shred of hope. But then, of course, Bishop Francis Waloke is saying that we're going to be facing some form of multi-dimensional suffering. And from what the financial analyst is saying, it's not a story where we see a light at the end of the tunnel, is it?
Truly speaking, the situation...
Reverend Hype, are you there? I think we're having a connection issue with you.
Well, it is a sad one, because when you see someone or a group of people who advocated to stand for the masses, who advocated to defend the masses, who advocated to give services to the masses, turning back to begin to make things difficult for the masses, then it's unfortunate. Because all of us are aware that this current leadership came on the platform of telling the masses that the previous leaderships were not doing right, they were not serving the interests of the people, they were instead exploiting the people. But sincerely speaking, the exploitation at this moment is bad. I don't want to be too technical. Thank God that our brother has actually shared his view as a financial analyst. But let me put it from the practical point of view. Even the solution government is presenting to Nigerians itself is a big problem. How can government tell us that they want to remove subsidy, but they are going to pay for...
Again, I think we have lost Reverend Hayab. Reverend Hayab, can you hear me? Are you there? Well, apologies. We're having that connection issue with Reverend Hayab. We'll try to bring him back. But back to you, Richard, while you hold forth for Reverend Hayab. I was speaking with some people over the weekend who said, one person said, I took 30,000 naira to the market and I was unable to buy anything. And another said, I bought gas, for 8.5 the other day, and now it's almost 10,000. And who knows what it's going to be in December. Let's not forget the Yuletide is just around the corner. Naturally, the prices of things literally hit, the roof. What is the fate of the average Nigerian? Is the December going to be dirty in any way?
Well, first, you see, okay, there's a saying that how the weekend is going to be, we're going to know as in by on Friday. So the truth here is that I don't see Nigerians even celebrating. I think someone made a joke recently and said that it's as if the Christmas carol are no longer playing. It's as if the Jingle Bell songs are no longer singing. Who stole the bell? That goes to show that we're getting to the point where people don't even feel like celebrating anything anymore, because the money you have is competing with so many other needs, such that you don't even want to celebrate where it matters. And it's sad to know that the president is already indirectly through his proxy telling Nigeria that the biggest gift we're going to get in the new year would be something that will touch our lives. And it's worrisome. It's not as if some of us enjoy coming to talk on TV or attending to interviews on radio. But when you see the policy and the direction of the policy and what it implies in terms of poverty and insecurity business costs, and all of those things, you come to realize that we are in a very serious problem. And the only way out is for us to reverse the policy. In fact, the idea that we have the presidency thinking in this direction makes me feel very sad. Don't forget that one of the reasons why the likes of Jonathan lost the election was because it was proposing increase in the price of the PMS. And that was what actually led to all the persons coming together to form a coalition to wrest power from him. So if that is the fundamental reason for which power left the PDP, for instance, or President Goodluck Jonathan, why does President Buhari feels that Nigerians want him to do exactly what he stood against, and they also stood for him for standing against that? So it does not really make sense in the real sense. I think there's a cartoonist that came up with a joke where a man was standing upside down and the wife was practically asking the man, what are you trying to do? He said he's trying to understand the policy of this government. All I can see right now is that there's a total disconnection between the president and the Nigerian people. And maybe the president is thinking that by increasing the price of oil, Nigerians would pat him on the back. No. What he's going to get at the end of the day will just be increase in agony and likely a nationwide protest. Because it's no longer about he's from South, he's from the North, or he's a Muslim, or he's a Christian. It's about how do all of us in this country get affected by policies that seems to mean something dangerous to us.
Finally, before I let you go, yeah, quickly before I let you go, in a few words, the presidency that you have been referring to has great economists, and there's an economic team that is being headed by the vice president, and I know one of the most intelligent people in terms of the economy, Bismarck Rwani, actually works in the presidency. Are you trying to tell me that these people have not necessarily looked at the aftermath of this fuel subsidy removal before they okayed it for the government to even bring it to the fore? In closing,
I don't even believe that they have been listened to, because I have high level of respect for the likes of everyone. Okay, so I don't even believe that he's been listened to. I don't even believe that the vice president has been listened to. Maybe they are part of those who choose to actually this dangerous economic disaster that they call policy. But I believe they're not being listened to. But let me quickly chip this in before I leave. It's very important for us to understand the question. That is why I'm saying we have to deconstruct this policy. The question here is that why don't we have our refineries working? If we fix our refineries and we have the 3 refineries working, naturally the whole issue about subsidies would go away. How can us as a country with over 70 billion barrels of crude oil beneath our soil, yet we don't have functional refinery? So we should not make it look as if it's a debate around subsidy removal or increase in price of oil. It's about the dysfunctionality of our refinery system. So we have to fix our refinery, and that will help us to reduce the price of oil, and all Nigerians will have cause to thank this government for doing the right thing.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Richard Inoyo is a financial analyst. We apologize. Reverend Hayab was disconnected as a result of the internet connection. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Well, we'll leave you with what Nigerians have to say about the cost of living in the country, because this is the order of the day. But I want to thank you for being part of the conversation. I am Mary Anacon. I'll see you tomorrow.
The high cost of food in Nigeria, especially here in Lagos, is over alarming. The things that you can buy with small money before, but now if you don't have more than enough, you cannot not even afford a cup of garri these days. We don't know what happened. The government is there, they are planning for their political whatever, and they are not doing anything about the country. And we are hoping for 2022 for another election. But they are not doing anything. The individuals that can afford food, they are not many. And the ones that are suffering for this food, they cannot get anything from it. Today they said onions, it is like this, garri, everything, nothing is going well.
Everyone, even the
little ones knows that everywhere the economy is, will I say everybody, the mass are suffering due to the high cost of goods in the market. So this had made some people, if there are people that are feeding thrice in a day, you see them, they feed twice and some even once, in order to do what? In order to make sure that there are other things they can solve problem with money. And secondly, you see that even in the case of the price of goods hiking, the salary are not being increased, both in the government sectors, in all parastatals anyway. So it has caused more of suffering to the mass.
It's not easy. The truth is most of us have adopted the 101 feeding for feeding. So you either do the 101 or the 010 feeding method, because honestly eating 3 times a day in this Nigeria, you are big. EFCC will have to probe you.
Things are not all that easy for every Nigerians. I don't talk say now only me, because the price of everything now is skyrocketing, as you yourself know. So everybody is just managing. All what we are buying in the market, the price has gone up, starting from the food stuff, starting from gas that we are using for domestic purposes, and all sorts of things. But the question is that the salary that the salary earners are taking is nothing to write home about, and there's no increase in salary, but the price of things keep on going higher and higher. So, and there is nothing we can do.
It's so pathetic that the food situation, the food crisis is pathetic. Nobody knows where to go. We are suffering. Everybody is living beyond 10 naira per 2 days. It's not good. So please, we have to improve the economy. Our leaders should know that what we are going now is not good.
For the common people like us, things are not really going smooth. We work from, hand to mouth. And the funniest part, buses getting, the price of buses getting high, foodstuff getting high. But the funniest part is our salary are not being increased. So it doesn't make sense. At least, even if this price goes up, at least they should try and make out and see the reasons with our salary. You can imagine someone earning like 50,000 having a monthly budget of like 80K. So you don't expect the person to, how will I even put it, to go forward, to buy a car or to get the desired kind of lifestyle that he or she wants.
Everything is going expensive and salary is not increasing. People are just suffering in this country. The government should try to help us, to help people. People dey vex yo. People dey vex yo. God no go let us see war. See, people wan die yo. People dey vex for this country yo. We just dey manage news. See, God no go let us see war. In Jesus' name.